ASM KPIs. ASM stands for Area Sales Manager. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. Area Sales Manager कौन है? A manager who is primarily responsible for sales in the area assigned. He reports in to the state head or the regional sales manager, and he has reportees that are the territory sales in charge or the area sales executive or sales officer or otherwise distributors, salesperson or salesman. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब है कि सेल्स पर्सन का प्राइमरी मापदंड सेल्स होता है, राइट? यानी कि एरिया सेल्स मैनेजर का यहाँ पे प्राइमरी मापदंड या टारगेट इज सेल्स. तो सेल्स के अगेंस्ट उसकी परफॉर्मेंस या अचीवमेंट कैसी है, उसके मापदंड को केपीआई के तहत मेजर करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द सेल्स पर्सन or area sales manager's role is to increase the sale. Now, just by saying increase the sale can be key result areas, but when we say KPI, it needs to be specific and measurable. So, increase in sales on last year by 25%. If we say this, automatically there is a specific measure that we are trying to put in, and at the end of the month or at the end of the year, we shall see as against 25% whether he has surpassed or he is shortfall of the target, which is 25%. So KPI is the indicator that basically talks about the performance on the key parameters which is assigned to the ASM. Now in this slide, on this particular slide, if we see here, ASM and their team's performance is evaluated at every year end, and to do so, month by month, the performance should meet the monthly target. Only then, eventually, at the end of the year, the performance would be closer or greater than what is asked to achieve. And the ASM's core responsibility, as I have already told you, is to deliver the sales number which is assigned or given by his senior state head or the regional sales manager. Now, this KPI is segregated into 4 types. One is the main primary, which is called output sales metrics, followed by are the enablers. What are the enablers? I'll talk on the subsequent slide. Let us first see output sales metrics. Output sales metrics are of 2 types. One is the internal matrix and another is external matrix. Now, if we look at the internal matrix, this is basically the number which is given by the RSM or the state head. This number is nothing but the target that has to be fulfilled at the end of the year. So monthly and annual or annually target which is given. So this is internal matrix. Basis this target, at the end of the year, it can be ascertained whether there is percentage growth over last year, or if there is a growth last quarter versus this quarter, or at the level of annual business plan, what is the kind of delivery that this ASM and his team is contributing towards the pan-India goal. So supposing nationally the target is to achieve 200 crores. In that 200 crores, probably 50 crores is the target which is given to the RSM of one specific zone or region. So this 50 crores gets divided among the state head or the area sales manager. So hypothetically, if the area sales manager is assigned a target of, let's say, 5 crores out of that 50 crores. So at the end of the year, the business plan was for achieving the overall number, which is at pan-India level. The regional sales manager had the contribution to make of 50 crores, and out of 50 crores, 5 crores was the contribution that was expected out of this particular ASM. Right? So internal matrix will talk about his achievement on the 5 crore target which has been given to the area sales manager, which normally is the target greater than that of last year's achievement, and at the same time it talks about whether it is a growth or a degrowth at the end of the financial year. and what is the kind of contribution that the ASM has contributed in the overall business plan of the company. So this is called the sales matrix in the internal matrix. Let's move to the next one, and that is external matrix. What does this mean? See, external means something which is from outside and not from within. Now, let's say external, agencies, they have conducted some kind of a study which is based on market share or the growth rate category wise or the category growth rates in terms of percentage. These kind of reports are in the public domain for different brands or different companies. Now, looking at the data which is already studied by the external agencies like Nielsen, the company can actually plot their performance against what is being published by the external agencies. Let's say, for example, the entire category of biscuit for this company and this ASM is evaluated, the annual performance is evaluated and is actually mapped against the market share or the growth percentage. And this is also a kind of matrix which is given to the ASM to make sure that overall there is a growth on the category. Let's say biscuit. So this biscuit category, there must be a growth upon last year's category achievement. Let's say last year biscuits category of this company's performance in this particular area or region was 12%. Let's say this year it has grown as 15%. So there is a growth of 3%. And at the same time, if we look at the company's market share as a whole, so the company or the brand, they had initially, let's say, 5% market share. This year, because of achieving the numbers, the market share achievement has become, instead of 5, maybe 7 or 8 or 9%. So all in all, whether it is internal matrix or it's the external matrix, when the achievement is plot against what is asked or what is the standard, there must be a growing trend. As you see here, it must be a growing trend. If the growing trend is happening, that means the performance of the ASM is going extremely well. And that is what the KPI of the ASM normally is in terms of sales matrix. So what is desired of the ASM is the sales output. The number which has been asked to do must be delivered. That's the whole and singular outcome which is expected of the area sales manager, and for which he can drive his team, which is TSIs and the salesperson, overall to focus and get this number delivered month on month and eventually at the end of the year. So this is called output sales matrix. Well, in order to achieve these numbers, which is called sales matrix, there are enablers that will propel the overall performance and it will take near to the target which has been asked. And the first enabler is distribution matrix. What does this mean? Sales is equal to number of outlets into lines per outlet into value per line. I repeat, sales is equal to number of outlets into lines per outlet into value per line. This is sum total of all the salesperson reporting under the area sales manager. So all the outlets that are monitored and tracked by the respective individual salesperson or the TSI, sum total of all these outlets are actually the performance or existing coverage for the area sales manager. So most importantly, the area sales manager has to ensure that number of outlets which has been assigned to his team gets billed every month without fail. Secondly, the team must add more number of outlets every month. As a result, the overall distribution or the product availability will increase. Now, if you closely look the point enabler distribution matrix, you can relate to our previous class wherein distribution matrix means the measure of availability. Measure of availability का मतलब क्या है? that the products are available in all the stores where the salesperson visits as per beat plan. So objective one, all the outlets must get billed. That's the first attempt. Number two, the range or all the SKUs must be pushed and billed. And number three, wherever there is a possibility of adding new accounts, that must be added. This is how the sales or the product availability will increase. Now, this KPI is normally evaluated basis the external data that is available, which is prepared by the external agencies like Indian Market Research Bureau or Nielsen. How they do it? Well, the first one is weighted distribution gains. This means that if the number of outlets which was studied last time had, let's say, 6 out of 10, this time when they study, it is 8 out of 10. So there is a growth of 2 outlets as compared to the last time study, which is a fantastic sign. And therefore, this increasing trend is one important KPI as ASM, enabler distribution matrix. Number two, numeric distribution gain. Again, like it is the sale of the company's product category divided by the total sale of the category in the outlets that has been visited by the external agencies. So if the last time percentage was, let's say, 60, and if it increases to 80%, in such a case, there is a growth of 20%. Irrespective of 20%, 10%, there must be a growth which should be reported in terms of numeric distribution gain, which will give a clear indication that distribution matrix is growing, product availability is growing. One point in the weighted distribution gain, the ASM must drive to not only open new outlets, but also to push the key outlets to become the best performing premium outlets, because the premium outlets would be having a potential to contribute maximum sales as compared to all the other outlets in his span of control. So weighted distribution may, one important point is that the sales team must drive to place as much SKU possible in the top outlets, and as much bill cuts can be generated or done from the key performing outlets. And one another way of ensuring that the product availability is increasing upon the workings of the sales team under area sales manager is the number of outlets billing trend. Meaning, supposing the ASM has got 5,000 outlets, and on an average the entire performance in terms of billing of outlets is just about 2,000 outlets. So 2,000 outlets on an average were billing in the yesterdays, but in this financial year, as month on month there is a good control of ASM with his team, the number of billed outlet is growing and is having a growing trend. They started growing as 2,200 outlets, 2,500 outlets, and eventually 3,000 outlets plus out of 5,000. So this is a growing trend, and it's very good, kind of mapdand on the enabler distribution matrix, and the credit goes to ASM. So this is the second point, which is enabler distribution matrix. Next is enabler team goal or customers earning. This is also one important KPI of the area sales manager. What happens in this is every individual salesperson or every individual territory sales in charge that reports into the area sales manager must achieve their incentive month on month. If they achieve their incentive, it is a sign that the progress or performance is absolutely as per desired matrix. So if person is hitting 100% achievement on the incentive structure, it's a good performance. If growing trend over 100% achievement, so they are surpassing their performance, and this will give a fair indication that business is actually in the growing trend. Likewise, the distributor is also announced some incentive on a quarter basis or time to time. In such a situation, even the distributor that is in the span of control या जो distributors ASM के अंडर में काम कर रहे हैं उनके भी अचीवमेंट का मैट्रिक्स सपोर्ट करता है ASM के KPI पे. So if the number of distributors, as in supposing the ASM has got, let's say, 50 distributors, and out of 50, let's say this distributor is, let's say this ASM, 30 distributors are getting 100% achievement in the incentive or on the incentive parameters. And there is another ASM, only 10 of his distributor out of, let's say, 50 is getting 100% incentive. So the former ASM who has 30 out of 50 is a good performing ASM as compared to the another who is having only 10 distributor achieving 100%. So what does this mean? The team or the customer, internal customer, distributor, that is what is getting referred here. So even the team is an internal customer, by the way. So the team or the distributor, if they are hitting their 100% variable incentives month on month, that's a good sign, and it talks about the good work of the ASM. So the third enabler is team goals and customers earning. अगर sales achieve करना है तो एक carrot दिखाना पड़ेगा, motivation दिखाना पड़ेगा, and this motivation is basically the incentive structure which is announced for the sales team and also for the distributor. And if both the the sales team and the distributor are achieving their incentive, they will be highly motivated and they will keep repeating the performance or surpass the previous performance. And therefore, if they do so, the business will keep growing. And this is the third enabler. Next is enabler in-store fundamentals KPI. What does this mean? Every store, the way product is arranged or the way brand is merchandised, this creates visibility and generates demand or product movement. So as rentals are negotiated by the TSI and ASM has to approve it, or the ASM jointly does those kind of negotiations, after which there is a cost of implementing. तो जगह का भी हमने पैसा दिया, ब्रांड इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं या मर्चेंडाइजिंग इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं, उसका भी पैसा दिया. Then all this needs to be maintained and the performance must be measured कि हमने ये खर्चा किया, तो what is the kind of additional sales that is getting generated. So who will monitor this? Of course, internal data can suggest you that there is a growing trend because of these activities taking place. But there is actually an internal audit team who is sent out in the market. They visit retail outlets, outlet by outlet, irrespective there is a paid merchandising or non-paid merchandising. They go out in the market, visit every single outlet on a random basis of different salesperson or the outlets within the span of this one ASM, and they create the audit score within that territory. Like product is placed in the right position, tick mark. FIFO is maintained, tick mark. Product is placed in adequate quantity, tick mark. Planogram is done properly, tick mark. Products are neat and tidy, tick mark. The merchandising or shelf strips are pasted and good and is very attractive, tick mark. The parasite shelf is in the right order and it's not torn and maintained, tick mark. So all of these different kind of parameters are there where the audit team goes and they make a tick mark and they do a point rating system. Basis the score in a geography, different ASMs are compared, and the person or the ASM who has got maximum score, that indicates that all the basics inside the store are done correctly. Therefore, the sales will surely grow in the times to come, and even it is manifested in the existing billing pattern. And the second matrix of the in-store fundamentals are that the audit team also makes a note of the retailers who have participated and won the incentive that were contested from time to time. let's say there was a different trade scheme announcement in the market, and X retailer has participated and has done 3x volume and has won that competition that was done basis the maximum lifting plan. So this tick mark and point system actually gets the ASM a better point. So in-store fundamental KPIs is a big qualification criteria led by the company in order to evaluate if the ASM is doing the basics right inside the store, the way the product should be or the brand should be represented. So these are the way and in which the ASM performance is evaluated. So let's see quickly one more time. There are 4 KPIs for the ASM. The first one is the output sales matrix, which has got internal matrix and external matrix. Followed by is enabler. Enabler matrix 1 is called distribution matrix, in which basically there is a parameter of weighted distribution gain, numeric distribution gain, and number of outlets build trend. Number 3 enabler, which is the number 2 enabler or the third point, is team goals and customer earnings. And at the end, enabler in-store fundamental KPIs.